Marcus Chen felt his fighter ship shake violently as red warning lights flashed across the control panel. The navigation system was dead. The engine was failing. He had maybe 30 seconds before complete system failure. Come on, Marcus muttered, fighting with the controls as his ship spiraled toward the yellow planet below. Zarian 7 looked like a ball of poisonous sand from space. No one ever came here. No one ever wanted to. The ship hit the ground hard. Marcus felt his teeth rattle as metal screamed against rock. When everything finally stopped moving, he sat in darkness for a moment. Blood ran down his forehead. His left arm hurt, but he could move it. He was alive. Marcus pushed open the broken canopy and climbed out. The air outside was thin and tasted like metal. His environmental suit beeped warnings about radiation levels. He had maybe 6 hours before the planet's poisonous atmosphere would kill him, even with protection. His ship was completely destroyed. The engine core was cracked. The communication array was bent into twisted metal. No one would find him here. No one even knew where here was. Marcus started walking toward some tall crystal formations in the distance. Maybe he could find shelter. Maybe he could find something useful in the wreckage scattered across this dead world. That was when he saw the other ship. It was beautiful and strange, made of what looked like white crystal and silver metal. It had crashed into a cluster of purple rocks about half a mile away. The design was nothing like human ships. This was alien technology, and it was clearly very advanced. Marcus approached carefully. His hand rested on his sidearm, though he hoped he would not need it. The alien ship was in worse condition than his own. One entire side was missing. Pieces of crystal hull lay scattered everywhere like broken glass. He heard a sound, soft and weak, but definitely alive. Marcus followed the sound around the crashed ship and found her. The alien woman lay against a large rock, and Marcus had never seen anything like her. Her skin was pale blue and seemed to shimmer like crystal in the yellow sunlight. Her hair was long and white, almost silver. She wore clothes that looked like they were made from liquid metal and gems, but she was dying. Her crystal skin was cracking like broken glass. Dark lines spread across her face and arms. Her breathing was shallow and fast. When she opened her eyes and looked at Marcus, he saw they were deep purple, like the sky just before night. She spoke in a language he did not understand. Her voice was musical but weak. She was clearly asking for help, though Marcus could not understand the words. Marcus knelt beside her and pulled out his medical scanner. The device immediately started screaming warnings. Radiation poisoning. Severe cellular damage. Whatever this alien woman was, the planet was killing her faster than it was killing him. The alien woman looked at Marcus with surprise. Most species in the galaxy would leave a dying enemy to die alone. Everyone knew that. Survival meant taking care of yourself first. But Marcus was already opening his medical kit. He had basic first aid supplies, but nothing designed for alien biology. His medicine was made for human bodies. His bandages were made for human skin. Everything he had might be useless or even harmful to her. The alien woman spoke again, softer this time. She raised one hand toward him, and Marcus saw her fingers were long and graceful, ending in what looked like small crystals instead of nails. She was trying to tell him something important. Marcus looked at his scanner again. Her cellular structure was unlike anything in human medical databases. Her blood was not red like his, but seemed to glow with a faint blue light. The radiation was breaking down her cells faster and faster. She had minutes, not hours. "I don't know how to help you," Marcus said out loud, knowing she could not understand him. "I don't know anything about your people." The alien woman's eyes began to close. Her breathing became even more shallow. The cracks in her skin spread further. She was dying right in front of him, and there was nothing he could do about it. That was when Marcus made a decision that would change everything. He pulled out his combat knife and cut a line across his left forearm. Red human blood immediately began to flow. The alien woman's eyes opened wide with shock. What was this strange human doing? Marcus held his bleeding arm over her worst wounds and let his blood drip onto her cracked crystal skin. He had no scientific reason to think this would work. Human blood and alien blood were completely different. But sometimes, when nothing else worked, you tried everything. "Maybe our blood can help somehow," Marcus said quietly. "Maybe it can fight the radiation that's killing you." The alien woman stared at him with amazement. No one had ever sacrificed their own blood for her. No one had ever put themselves in danger to help someone from a different world. In her long life as princess of one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy, She had never seen such kindness from a stranger. At first, nothing happened. Marcus's red blood simply mixed with the blue glow of her blood and disappeared into her wounds. He began to think he had made a terrible mistake. Maybe human blood was poison to her people. Maybe he had just made her death more painful. But then something incredible began to happen. Where Marcus's blood touched her skin, the cracks began to heal. The dark lines of radiation poisoning started to fade. Her blue crystal skin began to glow brighter, as if someone had turned on a light inside her body. The alien woman gasped and sat up straight. She looked at her arms and hands in complete shock. The deadly cracks were disappearing. Her skin was becoming smooth and beautiful again. The radiation that had been killing her was somehow being pushed back. Marcus stared in amazement. His blood was actually working, but how was that possible? Humans and aliens were completely different species. Their blood should not be compatible at all. The alien woman looked at Marcus with new eyes. She reached out and gently touched the cut on his arm. When she spoke this time, Marcus somehow understood her meaning, even though he still could not understand her words. She was saying thank you, but something else was happening too. Where her fingers touched his cut, Marcus felt a strange tingling sensation. His skin began to feel different, stronger somehow. When he looked down, he saw that the edge of his cut was taking on a faint crystal-like quality. The alien woman saw it too. She stared at Marcus's arm, then at her own healed skin, then back at Marcus. Her purple eyes were wide with wonder and fear. What had they done to each other? Marcus helped her stand up. She was much taller than he had expected, almost 7 feet tall, and moved with the grace of someone born to royalty. Despite everything that had happened, she carried herself like a queen. She pointed to herself and spoke a word that sounded like music. Zara-eth. Marcus pointed to himself. Marcus, Princess Zara-eth smiled, and it was like watching the sun rise. She had been saved by this strange human warrior, who had given his own blood to save her life. She had been changed by his blood in ways she did not yet understand. And somehow she had changed him too. They were no longer the same people who had crashed on this deadly planet. They were something new, something that had never existed before in the galaxy. And their story was just beginning. Princess Zara-eth stood in the poisonous air of Zerion 7 and realized she was not wearing her breathing mask. She should be dead. Her people, the Velnari, could not survive in atmospheres like this. They needed special air mixtures and temperature controls to live. Yet here she was, breathing easily in air that should have killed her in minutes. Marcus watched her with growing amazement. "How are you doing that?" he asked. "My scanner says this air is poison to most life forms." Zara-eth did not understand his words, but she understood his confusion. She was confused too. She looked at her hands again. Her skin still glowed with its crystal-like quality, but now it seemed stronger, more resilient. Where Marcus's blood had touched her, she felt power flowing through her body like electricity. She closed her eyes and reached out with her mind. All Velnari had telepathic abilities, but hers had always been average for her people. Now, when she extended her mental awareness, the world exploded with new sensations. She could feel Marcus's thoughts and emotions as clearly as if he were speaking them out. Loud, concern, wonder, fear, determination. He was worried about getting off this planet, but he was also fascinated by what was happening to both of them. More importantly, she could sense technology. Her people could always interface mentally with Velnari machines, but now she felt the broken pieces of both crashed ships calling to her like old friends. She could understand how they worked, what was broken, and how they might be fixed. Marcus felt the change in himself too. His left arm, where her fingers had touched his blood, now had skin that looked slightly crystalline. When he tested it, he found that it was much harder than normal skin. His knife blade could not even scratch it, but the changes went deeper than that. His reflexes felt faster. His mind felt clearer. When he looked at the wreckage of Zara-eth's alien ship, he found himself understanding the technology in ways that should have been impossible for a human. "We need to work together," Marcus said, pointing to both ships. "Fix! Repair! Get away from here!" Zara-eth nodded, somehow understanding his basic meaning. She walked to her crashed ship and placed her hands on the broken hull. Marcus watched in amazement as she seemed to communicate directly with the ship's systems. Her telepathic abilities had been enhanced far beyond normal Velnari levels. She could now interface with any technology, not just her own people's machines. The ship's computer core was damaged but still functional. The engine could be repaired. The navigation system needed parts from Marcus's ship. Marcus, meanwhile, found himself able to understand the alien technology as if he had studied it his whole life. His hands moved confidently over crystal control panels and energy conduits. Somehow, his human engineering knowledge was combining with intuitive understanding of Velnari science. They worked together for hours. Marcus would remove useful parts from his destroyed human ship, while Zara-Eth used her enhanced telepathic abilities to guide the repairs of her vessel. Neither of them fully understood what they were doing, but somehow it worked. The most amazing moment came when they needed to connect human technology to Velnari systems. The two technologies had completely different power sources, data formats, and physical connections. It should have been impossible. But when Marcus touched the human components and Zara-Eth touched the Velnari systems, the technologies somehow talked to each other through their shared blood connection. The mixed human and Velnari blood flowing in both their bodies acted like a universal translator between the different machines. As they worked, they began to understand each other better too. Zara-Eth's enhanced telepathic abilities allowed her to sense Marcus's thoughts and intentions. Marcus found that his new crystalline skin let him pick up on her emotional states. They developed a basic communication without words. Marcus learned that Zara-Eth was not just any Velnari. She was Princess Zara-Eth, heir to the Velnari Empire, one of the most powerful governments in the galaxy. Her royal ship had been attacked by raiders while she was traveling to an important diplomatic meeting. Zara-Eth learned that Marcus was a fighter pilot from Earth, humanity's homeworld. His people were considered strong warriors but technologically primitive by most galactic standards. The Velnari had always viewed humans as a young, unimportant species. But now, working together with their combined abilities, they were accomplishing things that neither species should have been able to do alone. When the repairs were finally complete, they had created something unique in galactic history, a ship that combined the best of human and Velnari technology. The engines were more efficient than either design alone. The weapon systems were more powerful. The navigation was more accurate. Marcus and Zara-Eth climbed into the hybrid ship and prepared for takeoff. As the engines powered up, both of them felt the ship responding to their mental commands. The vessel seemed to know what they wanted before they knew it themselves. They lifted off from Zerion 7 and escaped into space. But their problems were just beginning. Almost immediately, they were detected by patrol ships from both the human and Velnari fleets. Both groups demanded to know what had happened. How was a human pilot flying a Velnari ship? How was a Velnari princess working with a human warrior? When the ships moved closer to scan them, the sensor readings made no sense to either fleet. Marcus and Zara-Eth's biological signatures were unlike anything in any database. They were neither fully human nor fully Velnari, but something entirely new. Admiral Chen of the human fleet was Marcus's uncle. He commanded the patrol group through radio communication. "Marcus, what happened to you down there? Our sensors say you're different somehow." Captain Velthar of the Velnari fleet was Zara-Eth's military advisor. He spoke through telepathic communication. "Princess, your mental signature has changed dramatically. What has been done to you?" Marcus and Zara-Eth looked at each other. How could they explain what they did not fully understand themselves? How could they tell two suspicious military forces that they had shared blood and been transformed in ways that science said were impossible? "We helped each other survive," Marcus said simply into his radio. That's all. But even as he said it, he knew it was not the whole truth. They had done much more than survive. They had become something new together. Their shared blood had created changes that would affect both their peoples and possibly the entire galaxy. Zara-Eth reached out with her enhanced telepathic abilities and made a startling discovery. She could sense other ships approaching fast. Many ships, the energy signatures were not human or Velnari. "Marcus," she said, speaking his name carefully in her musical voice. She pointed toward empty space where her enhanced senses detected the approaching threat. Marcus checked his instruments. At first he saw nothing. Then suddenly, dozens of ships appeared as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The ships were black and angular, designed purely for war. "Korthax raiders," Admiral Chen's voice crackled over the radio. "All ships prepare for battle. They must have followed our patrol route." Marcus felt his new abilities surge through his body. His reflexes were faster than any human pilot. His understanding of the ship's systems was better than any Velnari engineer. Beside him, Zara-Eth's telepathic powers let her coordinate with both fleets and predict enemy movements. Together, they were about to discover just how powerful their transformation had made them. The Korthax raiders opened fire, and the first real test of the human-Velnari hybrid began. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. In every space station on every civilized world, in every government building, people were talking about the same impossible thing. A human and a Velnari had somehow mixed their blood and been transformed into something new. Dr. Elena Vasquez sat in her laboratory on Earth, staring at the biological data that had been transmitted from the patrol fleet. She was humanity's best scientist when it came to studying alien life forms. She had spent 20 years learning about the biology of different species. But what she was looking at now made no sense at all. "This is impossible," she muttered, checking the data for the 5th time. "Human and Velnari blood cannot mix. They are completely different. Human blood is carbon-based. Velnari blood contains silicon crystals. They should reject each other like poison." But the evidence was right in front of her. The blood samples showed a perfect fusion of human and Velnari cellular structures. More than that, the combined blood seemed to be actively improving both biological systems. The human cells were becoming more resilient. The Velnari cells were becoming more adaptable. Dr. Vasquez ran computer simulation after computer simulation. Every time the result was the same. This biological fusion should have been impossible. But somehow it had happened. On the Velnari homeworld of Velnari's Prime, the Royal Council was in emergency session. Ancient Velnari lords who had lived for centuries sat around a crystal table, their telepathic voices creating a storm of angry thoughts. "The princess has been contaminated," declared Lord Valkaris, the oldest member of the council. "Human blood is primitive and inferior. She can no longer be considered pure Velnari, but her abilities have increased dramatically," argued Lady Velthera, a younger council member. "Our best telepaths cannot match her current power levels. Perhaps this fusion represents evolution, not contamination." The council was split down the middle. Half believed that Princess Zara-Eth had been ruined by contact with inferior human biology. The other half wondered if this transformation might be the key to making their people stronger. Emperor Veldarius, Zara-Eth's father, remained silent through most of the debate. He loved his daughter, but he also had to consider the future of his empire. A ruler contaminated by alien blood might not be accepted by his people. Meanwhile, on Earth, the human government was having similar problems. General Morrison, head of the Terran Defense Corps, paced back and forth in front of a room full of military officers. "Lieutenant Chen has compromised his human genetic purity," Morrison declared. "We don't know what long-term effects this alien contamination might have. He could be a security risk." "But, sir," interrupted Captain Rodriguez, "the battle reports show that Chen's new abilities helped save both our fleet and the Velnari fleet from the Korthax raiders. His enhanced reflexes and understanding of alien technology were crucial to our victory." General Morrison frowned. "That may be true, but we cannot allow our soldiers to start mixing their blood with aliens." Where would it end? Dr. Vasquez requested permission to study Marcus and Zara-Eth directly. She believed that understanding their transformation was crucial to human science. But both the human and Velnari governments were reluctant to allow such research. The debate might have continued for months. But then something happened that changed everything. The Korthax hegemony, the most militaristic empire in the galaxy, made their position clear. Supreme Commander, Korthagon appeared on communication screens throughout civilized space with a simple message. "The human Velnari abomination represents a threat to the natural order of the galaxy," his voice boomed. "Species are meant to remain separate and pure. Those who encourage this biological contamination will be destroyed." Korthagon was a massive creature, 8 feet tall and covered in thick armor-like skin. His people, the Korthax, believed that military strength was the only thing that mattered in the universe. They had been slowly conquering other systems for decades, always choosing to fight rather than negotiate. "We hereby declare war on both Earth and Velnari's Prime," Korthagon continued. "These governments have allowed their people to become corrupted. We will cleanse the galaxy of this contamination and restore proper order." Within hours, Korthax invasion fleets were moving toward both human and Velnari space. They brought with them weapons that could destroy entire planets and biological weapons that could kill all life on a world. The threat forced both governments to reconsider their positions. Suddenly, the human Velnari transformation was not just a scientific curiosity or a political problem. It might be the key to survival. Dr. Vasquez was finally given permission to study Marcus and Zara-Eth. She met them on a neutral space station between human and Velnari territory. What she discovered there would change her understanding of human biology forever. "Your blood contains something we never knew existed," she told Marcus as she examined his test results. "Tiny biological machines that are so small we can barely detect them. They seem to be designed to adapt to any environment or threat." Marcus looked confused. "I don't understand. Are you saying humans have machines in our blood?" "Not machines exactly," Dr. Vasquez explained. "More like biological tools that evolved naturally. Earth is a very dangerous planet compared to most worlds. Extreme weather, radiation from space, poisonous plants and animals, deadly diseases. Humans survived all of that by developing the most adaptable biology in the galaxy." She showed him microscopic images of his blood cells. "These adaptive mechanisms in your blood can apparently recognize and integrate with other biological systems. When your blood mixed with Princess Zara-Eth's, it didn't just heal her. It created a completely new form of life." Zara-Eth listened to the explanation with growing amazement. Through her enhanced telepathic abilities, she could understand Dr. Vasquez's words even though they were speaking in human language. "You mean humans can do this with other species too?" Zara-Eth asked, her musical voice filled with wonder. Dr. Vasquez nodded slowly.
"Theoretically, yes.
Human blood might be compatible with any alien biology, but we would need to test it carefully. The wrong combination could be deadly for both species." As they talked, urgent messages began arriving from across the galaxy. Korthax fleets were attacking human colonies. Velnari worlds were under siege. The war had begun, and early reports suggested that normal human and Velnari forces were no match for Korthax military technology. Marcus and Zara-Eth looked at each other with the same thought. Their transformation had made them powerful enough to fight the Korthax raiders on equal terms. But two people, even with enhanced abilities, could not win a war against an entire empire. "We need more people like us," Marcus said quietly. Zara-Eth nodded. "But creating more hybrids would be dangerous. We don't fully understand what we've become." Dr. Vasquez was already thinking about the possibilities. If human blood could indeed create beneficial fusions with other species, it might give the galaxy a way to fight back against the Korthax. But it would require volunteers willing to risk their lives in an untested biological experiment. "We could start small," she suggested. "A few volunteers from each species. Test the process carefully. See what combinations work and which ones are dangerous." As they planned, none of them realized that other species throughout the galaxy were watching their communications. The insectoid hive queens, the ethereal luminari, the mechanical construct race. All of them were beginning to wonder if this human ability might help them as well. The Korthax had intended to destroy the human-Velnari fusion before it could spread. Instead, their attack was about to trigger something much larger. The galaxy was about to discover just how special human biology really was. And Marcus Chen, a simple fighter pilot who had shared his blood to save a dying princess, was about to become the center of the most important biological revolution in galactic history. The first volunteer was Captain Sarah Kim, a human pilot who had served with Marcus for 3 years. She stepped forward when Dr. Vasquez called for test subjects even though she knew the risks. Marcus saved an alien princess and gained incredible abilities. Sarah said firmly, "If his blood can help me fight the Korthax better, then I want to try it." The second volunteer was Commander Velthon, a young Velnari warrior who believed in Princess Zara-Eth's vision of cooperation between species. He had seen the battle reports from the first Korthax attacks. His people's traditional fighting methods were not enough. If the princess can become stronger by sharing blood with humans, then perhaps I can too, he declared through telepathic communication. Dr. Vasquez prepared the first controlled blood-sharing experiment in her mobile laboratory. Marcus lay on one medical table while Sarah lay on another. A carefully measured amount of Marcus's blood was slowly transfused into Sarah's bloodstream, while medical monitors tracked every biological change. At first, nothing happened. Sarah's vital signs remained normal. Her blood chemistry showed no changes. Dr. Vasquez began to worry that the transformation only worked under extreme conditions, like the life-threatening situation on Zerion 7. Then, after 20 minutes, Sarah's eyes snapped open and she gasped. "I can feel everything," she whispered in amazement. "The ship's engines, the computer systems, even the artificial gravity generators. It's like they're all talking to me." Her human blood had gained the ability to interface with technology, just like Velnari telepaths. But unlike normal Velnari abilities, Sarah could connect with any machine, not just those designed for telepathic control. Human technology, alien technology, even captured Korthax equipment, she could understand and control it all. The experiment with Commander Velthon was even more dramatic. When Zaraeth's hybrid blood entered his system, his crystalline Velnari physiology immediately began adapting. His skin became more resilient. His telepathic range increased dramatically. Most importantly, he could now survive in environments that would kill normal Velnari. "This is incredible," Dr. Vasquez said as she recorded the results. "Human blood really can enhance any biological system. It's like your species evolved to be the perfect biological bridge between different forms of life." Word of the successful experiment spread quickly through both human and Velnari military forces. Volunteers began lining up for the transformation process, but they had to be careful. Not everyone was compatible and the process was still dangerous. Some volunteers experienced no changes at all. Others became sick from the blood fusion and had to be treated in medical facilities. But those who successfully transformed gained abilities that far exceeded normal human or Velnari capabilities. Lieutenant Chen, no relation to Marcus, could now pilot ships with his mind instead of his hands. Warrior Velsera could phase through solid matter for short periods. Commander Rodriguez gained the ability to heal injuries by touching them. Each successful hybrid developed unique abilities based on their individual biology and personality. As the hybrid program expanded, other alien species began requesting to participate. The first was Queen Zixara of the Hive Queens, an insectoid species that lived in massive underground colonies. "My people communicate through chemical signals and shared consciousness," Queen Zixara explained through a translation device. "If human blood can enhance telepathic abilities, perhaps it can improve our hive connections as well." The human-hive hybrid experiments produced remarkable results. Captain Williams, after receiving Hive Queen-enhanced blood, could coordinate with hundreds of people simultaneously. He became like a living communication network, able to share tactical information instantly across entire battle groups. Queen Zixara's volunteers gained human adaptability and individual creativity while keeping their hive mind connections. They could now think independently when needed but still share knowledge and emotions with their colonies. Next came the Luminari, beings of pure energy who usually existed in specialized containment suits. Their representative, Bright Wind Over Water, was curious about human biological adaptability. "We have always been limited by our energy-based existence," Bright Wind explained through harmonic sounds. "Perhaps fusion with human biology could give us new possibilities." The human Luminari hybrids were the most visually dramatic. Sergeant Anderson could become partially transparent and phase through walls, while maintaining his physical strength and human emotions. Luminari volunteers gained the ability to take solid form without their containment suits, opening up new worlds they had never been able to explore. Even the construct race, artificial beings made of living metal and crystal, requested to join the program. Their representative, Unit 47, surprised everyone by asking for the experiments. "We have always sought to understand organic life," Unit 47 stated in its mechanical voice. "Perhaps direct fusion will provide insights our programming cannot achieve." The human construct hybrids were the most combat effective. Private Jones could interface directly with any mechanical system and control multiple machines simultaneously. His skin became partially metallic, giving him incredible resistance to damage. Construct volunteers gained organic creativity and emotional understanding that improved their problem-solving abilities dramatically. As the hybrid forces grew, they began achieving victories against the Korthax that seemed impossible. A team of human hive hybrids could coordinate massive space battles with perfect timing. Human Luminari hybrids could phase through Korthax shields and sabotage their ships from within. Human construct hybrids could hack Korthax technology and turn their own weapons against them. But the Korthax were not giving up easily. Supreme Commander Korthagon watched the early battle reports with growing anger. His forces were losing to these contaminated hybrid creatures, and he could not understand how. How are these biological abominations defeating our superior military technology? He demanded of his science officers. Chief Scientist Korthavel examined captured hybrid blood samples. The human component seems to act as a universal adapter, he reported. It allows completely different biological systems to work together in ways that should be impossible. The resulting combinations are stronger than either species alone. Korthagon's response was swift and brutal. If normal warfare could not defeat the hybrids, he would use weapons designed to destroy all life on entire planets. Prepare the bioweapons, he ordered. We will sterilize every world that harbors these hybrid creatures. If we cannot defeat them in battle, we will eliminate them completely. The Korthax bioweapons were designed to kill all organic life forms by attacking basic cellular structures. No known species could survive exposure to them. They had been used to eliminate entire civilizations that refused to surrender to Korthax rule. When intelligence reports reached the hybrid forces about the bioweapon deployment, panic spread through the Alliance. How could they protect entire planets from weapons that killed all life? Marcus and Zarath, now recognized as the leaders of the hybrid movement, called an emergency meeting with Dr. Vasquez and the other scientists. We need a solution, Marcus said grimly. The Korthax are planning to use bioweapons on Earth, Velnaris Prime, and every other world that supports us. Dr. Vasquez had been studying the hybrid transformations for weeks. She had discovered something that might be crucial. The hybrid blood doesn't just combine different biological systems, she explained. It seems to create resistance to biological weapons. Your combined immunity systems are far stronger than either species alone. Zarath's enhanced telepathic abilities suddenly picked up urgent communications from across the galaxy. The Korthax fleets are moving, she announced. They're heading toward Earth first. The bioweapon attack will begin in less than 48 hours. The hybrid forces had 2 days to find a way to protect billions of people from the most deadly weapons in the galaxy. The solution they developed would be the most desperate and dangerous plan ever attempted in galactic history, and it would require Marcus to make an even greater sacrifice than the one that had started this whole transformation. The Korthax bioweapon ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Massive black vessels carried enough biological death to sterilize every living thing on the planet. Supreme Commander Korthagon himself led the fleet, determined to end the hybrid threat once and for all. On Earth, billions of people looked up at the sky and knew their time was running out. The bioweapons could not be stopped by shields or conventional weapons. Once released into the atmosphere, they would kill every plant, animal, and person on the planet within hours. But Marcus Chen had a plan that no one had ever attempted before. We're going to let them deploy the bioweapons, he announced to the assembled hybrid forces. The meeting included representatives from dozens of species, all connected through various forms of human blood fusion. That's suicide, protested Captain Sarah Kim, her enhanced abilities letting her sense Marcus's true intentions through their shared blood connection. No, Marcus replied calmly. It's evolution. Dr. Vasquez had made a crucial discovery in the final hours before the attack. The hybrid blood transformations had been creating more than just enhanced individuals. Each person who underwent the fusion process became a carrier for something much larger. The human adaptive mechanisms in your blood have been learning, she explained to the assembled group. Every time someone new joins the hybrid program, the biological adaptation system becomes more sophisticated. It's not just changing individuals anymore. It's creating a network. Princess Zaraheth, her telepathic abilities now enhanced far beyond any known level, could sense the truth of Dr. Vasquez's words. We're all connected, she said in wonder. Every hybrid shares a piece of the same adaptive system. We've become something like a galaxy-wide immune system. Marcus nodded. And immune systems learn to fight new diseases, including bioweapons. The plan was desperately dangerous. Marcus, Zarath, and the other hybrid leaders would allow themselves to be infected by the Korthax bioweapons. Their enhanced immune systems would learn to fight the biological attack. Then, through their shared blood connections, they would spread that immunity to every other hybrid across the galaxy. If it works, we can turn the bioweapons back on the Korthax, Marcus explained. Their own weapons will become harmless to us but deadly to them. And if it doesn't work, asked Commander Velthon. Then we all die, Marcus said simply. But at least we die fighting. As the Korthax fleet approached Earth, hybrid forces throughout the galaxy prepared for the most dangerous experiment in history. Volunteers from every species that had joined the hybrid program stood ready to receive the modified immunity that Marcus and the others would create. The bioweapon attack began at dawn. Korthagon's ships released clouds of deadly biological agents into Earth's atmosphere. The weapons were designed to attack the basic cellular structures that all known life forms shared. Nothing should have been able to survive. Marcus stood on the roof of Dr. Vasquez's laboratory and breathed in the poisoned air. The bioweapons immediately began attacking his cells, trying to break down his DNA and cellular structure. But his hybrid blood system fought back in ways the Korthax had never anticipated. The human adaptive mechanisms in his blood began analyzing the bioweapon, learning its structure and developing countermeasures. The Velnari crystalline components in his cells provided resistance to the weapon's energy-based attacks. Other alien biologies he had been exposed to through the hybrid program contributed their own defensive capabilities. Zara Eth joined him on the rooftop, her enhanced telepathic abilities connecting her to every hybrid across the galaxy. Through their shared network, she could spread Marcus's developing immunity to thousands of other transformed individuals in real time. "It's working," she gasped as the bioweapon tried to kill her. "I can feel the resistance spreading through the network." Across the galaxy, hybrid forces began experiencing the same transformation. Captain Sarah Kim on her starship felt the immunity flowing through her blood. Queen Zixara in her underground hive passed the resistance to her transformed workers. Brightwind over Water shared the protection with other luminary hybrids. But the transformation was doing more than just creating immunity to the bioweapons. As the adaptive systems learned to fight the Korthax biological attacks, they were creating something entirely new. A galaxy-wide network of connected consciousness. Every hybrid could now sense the thoughts and emotions of every other hybrid. Regardless of their original species or location, humans could share experiences with hive queens. Velnari could understand luminary emotions. Constructs could feel organic sensations for the first time. The bioweapons that were supposed to kill them instead became the catalyst for the largest expansion of consciousness in galactic histories. The immunity spread through the hybrid network. Something unexpected happened. The modified bioweapon resistance began affecting non-hybrid populations too. Humans who had never undergone blood fusion started developing resistance to the Korthax attack. The same thing happened on Velnari worlds, hive queen colonies, and luminary energy fields. Dr. Vasquez, monitoring the situation from her laboratory, realized what was happening. "The hybrid network is broadcasting the immunity like a radio signal," she announced excitedly. "The bioweapon resistance is spreading to everyone through some kind of biological field effect." Supreme Commander Korthagon watched in horror as his ultimate weapons not only failed to kill the hybrid forces, but began turning against his own troops. The modified bioweapons, now carried by the hybrid network, were specifically deadly to Korthax biology while being harmless to every other known species. His invasion fleets began dying in their own ships as the transformed bioweapons spread through their ventilation systems. The Korthax military, so confident in their biological weapons, had no defense against their own technology being turned against them. But the changes were far from over. As the hybrid network grew stronger, it began offering something unprecedented to every species in the galaxy: voluntary transformation. Anyone who chose to could now join the network without the dangerous blood-sharing process. They could gain enhanced abilities, resistance to biological weapons, and connection to the galaxy-wide consciousness simply by accepting the network's invitation. Most importantly, the network respected choice. Species and individuals who preferred to remain unchanged were protected and respected. The network's goal was not conquest but cooperation. Within months, the galaxy was transformed. The old empire-based system of government collapsed as species barriers dissolved. Instead of competing for resources and territory, civilizations began sharing knowledge and working together on projects that no single species could accomplish alone. The Korthax hegemony surrendered when Korthagon realized that his entire military philosophy was obsolete. In a galaxy where cooperation was stronger than conquest, his empire had no purpose. Marcus and Zara Eth became the first ambassadors of the new galactic collective. Their bond, formed through shared blood and enhanced by crisis, became the model for cooperation between all species. They stood together on the observation deck of the new collective headquarters, watching ships from hundreds of worlds work together to build massive projects in space. Hybrid individuals moved among pure species populations in harmony, each group contributing their unique abilities to the common good. "Do you ever regret what we started?" Zaraeth asked, her telepathic voice reaching Marcus through their permanent connection. Marcus smiled, looking out at the thriving galactic civilization they had helped create. "No," he said simply. "I think this is what humans were always meant to do. Not conquer the galaxy, but help bring it together." Their blood had done more than save 2 lives on a poisonous planet. It had shown the galaxy that the greatest strength came not from purity or separation, but from connection and cooperation. Humanity's greatest gift to the universe was not their technology or their fighting ability, it was their unprecedented capacity to bridge differences and help others become more than they ever could have been alone. Their galaxy was entering a new golden age. And it had all started with one simple act of kindness, a human warrior sharing his blood to save a dying alien princess. Sometimes the smallest acts of compassion create the largest changes in the universe.